The galaxy was full of stories, but some stories carried fear in their very soul. On the edge of the Orion cluster, in a shadowy spaceport where the lights flickered like dying stars, a young alien mercenary named Kyle listened with wide eyes. The bar around him was noisy, filled with chatter, laughter, and the occasional crash of glass, but a strange hush fell whenever the topic turned to humans. "They fight like storms," one veteran mercenary muttered, his voice low and trembling, as if speaking louder might summon some unseen danger. "They strike and vanish. No one can hold them." Kyle shifted in his seat, his long fingers curling around the edge of the table. He had heard rumors before, whispers of humans who were not just soldiers, but something more, something impossible. But seeing the fear in these hardened veterans' eyes made it real. "Impossible," another alien grunted. "A human squad took down my unit on Kryn 9. My friends, all gone in a single night." Kyle's antenna twitched. "But why? How?" he asked. The veterans stared at him. Not a single one answered at first. Their eyes reflected memories they would rather forget. Finally, a tall, scarred alien spoke, his voice heavy with warning. "You don't fight humans, rookie. Not if you value your life. Not if you ever want to see your home again." Kyle swallowed hard. He wanted answers, but a chill ran down his spine. Around him, the dim bar lights flickered, casting shadows across alien faces. Each one seemed carved by fear and defeat. He imagined those soldiers, his own species, standing in the heat of battle, and he wondered if he could survive what humans could do. Stories filled the room, each one more terrifying than the last. Humans who fought without fear, who moved like shadows, who could read a battlefield before anyone else. Soldiers who did not rely on weapons alone, but on instinct, courage, and a will stronger than the strongest armor. Aliens had tactics, technology, and numbers. Humans had something else, something the galaxy could not measure. Kyle's mind raced. He pictured alien corpses lying scattered across barren worlds, their armor torn, their weapons useless. He saw flashes of battles on ice-covered moons, scorched deserts, and dense forests. Each time, humans stood tall, calm, even smiling, while everything around them burned. There was no panic, no fear, just focus, just deadly precision. One of the older mercenaries leaned close, his voice dropping to a whisper. "They call them special forces, but that doesn't cover it. They're different. You can't predict them. You can't trap them. You can't outnumber them. The more aliens try, the worse it gets." Kyle felt a lump in his throat. He had trained for years to be a soldier, to fight for contracts, for money, for reputation. And yet, hearing these words, seeing the haunted looks on these veterans' faces, he realized that humans were not just another enemy, humans were something beyond fear itself. The veterans spoke of one last encounter. A team of humans had faced an entire battalion of elite alien mercenaries. By the time the aliens retreated, they were shattered, broken, their pride destroyed. And the humans? They walked away as if it was just another day. No celebration, no boasting, just humans calm and unshaken, leaving legends and whispers in their wake. Kyle sat in silence, staring into his drink. The flickering lights of the spaceport seemed dimmer now, smaller somehow. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers, but for the first time, Kyle understood something terrifying. Humans were not just dangerous, they were unstoppable. And the reason no mercenary dared to fight them was not just survival, it was respect and fear. The bar fell quiet, and Kyle's gaze lingered on the distant stars outside the viewport. He knew one thing for certain. Somewhere out there, humans were waiting, watching, ready. And if he ever crossed their path, he might not survive to tell the tale.
The twin suns of Kryn 9 burned red across the endless desert, casting long shadows over the dunes. A team of elite alien mercenaries descended from their sleek dropships, armor gleaming under the harsh light. They were confident, experienced, armed with the most advanced weapons the galaxy had to offer. Their target, a human squad rumored to be nearly invincible. Commander Varric, a towering alien with jagged scars across his face, raised his hand. "Spread out, we surround them. There is no escape this time." His voice was sharp, commanding. The others nodded. They had hunted dangerous prey before. Humans, they thought, were no different. But they were wrong. The humans were fewer in number, only 5 in total, yet they moved with silent precision. Blending seamlessly with the dunes, their dark armor reflected nothing of the sun's glare. They waited, calm and composed, their eyes scanning the horizon. They didn't rush, they didn't panic, they simply watched. The aliens advanced, confident in their strength, but almost immediately the desert betrayed them. Sand walls erupted into clouds, triggered by invisible mines hidden beneath the dunes. Explosions tossed mercenaries into the air, coating their armor in dust and debris. Drones sent to scout ahead were ambushed, shredded by unseen laser fire before they could even report. Commander Varric growled, "Form up, push forward." But the humans were already striking. From the shadows of a jagged rock formation, a human soldier appeared, firing a pulse rifle with calm efficiency. The first alien commander fell, hit directly through the chest. Another tried to retreat, but was met with precise plasma bolts that cut through his armor. Every human movement was calculated. Every strike landed with deadly accuracy. "You'll learn, or you'll die," one of the humans said, his voice carrying across the battlefield. It was calm, almost mocking, but it carried a weight of warning. The mercenaries could not respond fast enough. Every time they thought they had found cover, a human was already there, waiting. Varric barked orders, but his soldiers were confused, scattered, and terrified. Their usual tactics, flanking, overwhelming firepower, brute force, failed against humans who seemed to anticipate their every move. Every step forward became a nightmare. Every attack was met with precision and cunning. The desert battlefield became chaos. Sandstorms whipped around the mercenaries, making visibility almost impossible. Yet the humans moved as if nothing had changed, disappearing into the dust, striking from angles no one expected. The mercenaries' formations collapsed, and morale crumbled. They had never fought prey like this before. Within minutes, the elite unit was shattered. Alien soldiers lay wounded, screaming and in panic. Commander Varric narrowly escaped an ambush, dragging the last few survivors back to their dropships. Their mission was a failure, a disaster that would echo throughout the mercenary guilds for years. The humans disappeared back into the dunes, leaving no trace behind, except the bodies of the fallen and the echoes of their words. "We'll see you again, if you dare," one soldier whispered, as if to taunt the remaining mercenaries. As the dropships lifted into the sky, Varric looked down at the burning sands. The humans had won without any fanfare, without any need for spectacle. They had not just survived, they had dominated. The desert world of Kryn 9 would forever remember the first encounter between human soldiers and elite alien mercenaries. And somewhere in the galaxy, every mercenary who heard the story would understand the same truth. Humans were not just strong, they were smart, unpredictable, unstoppable. The legend of the humans' first battlefield victory spread quickly, and with it came a growing fear. Mercenaries began to whisper to one another, "If a human squad is involved, don't even try, you won't survive." Kale, back in the spaceport bar, would later hear this story, but for the first time he would picture it himself. The humans, moving like shadows across the sands, deadly and calm, leaving even the most elite alien warriors trembling.
The alien mothership hovered silently above the planet's atmosphere,
a massive shadow against the orange haze of Kryn 9's twin suns. Inside, the elite mercenaries gathered in the strategy room, a high-tech chamber filled with holographic maps, glowing panels, and weapons racks. Commander Varric stood at the center, his face dark with determination. The first encounter had been a humiliating defeat, and he swore it would not happen again. "We failed because we underestimated them," Varric said, slamming a clawed hand onto the table. "Next time we will crush them. Traps, ambushes, and overwhelming firepower. Every move calculated, every angle covered." The mercenaries nodded, confidence returning. They had the latest technology, hundreds of drones, automated defenses, and superior numbers. Surely, this time, humans could not survive. Meanwhile, far below, the human squad rested. They were aware that aliens would strike again, but they did not fear. They studied the terrain, listened to reports, and quietly shared strategies among themselves. They had a secret weapon no alien could see: intuition. They could anticipate moves without seeing them, adapt to danger without hesitation, and improvise when the situation demanded. The next assault began at dawn. Alien drones scoured the desert, scanning for heat signatures. Mercenaries set traps and fortified their positions. They moved in perfect formations, confident that the humans would walk into the kill zones. But humans are never predictable. One soldier, Mara, noticed subtle patterns in the alien patrols, a slight pause here, a recurring signal there. She whispered to her team, "They think they know us, they don't." And with that, the humans set their own traps, simple yet devastating. A rock triggered a small chain reaction. A sand cloud hid a hidden sniper. Every human action seemed ordinary until it killed. As the aliens advanced, the psychological war began. Humans did not merely attack, they manipulated fear. Shadows moved where no one was. Drones malfunctioned mysteriously, as if the desert itself had turned against the mercenaries. Each human strike was precise, but appeared casual, almost effortless. The aliens could not understand how 5 humans could dominate hundreds of soldiers. Varric's confidence began to crack. He ordered a flank, expecting to surprise the humans from the east, but the humans had already anticipated it. Mara signaled, and alien squads found themselves ambushed from every direction, trapped in lines of fire they did not see. Explosions sent dust and debris into the air, blinding them. Panic spread quickly through their ranks. One alien officer shouted, "They know our every move! How is this possible?" Another answered, voice shaking, "It's not technology, it's them, their mind, their instinct. Nothing we planned works." The humans exploited every weakness, from predictable patrol routes to blind spots in armored vehicles, yet they never used overwhelming force. Every strike was measured, every movement deliberate. The aliens began to doubt themselves. The fear that had once been whispered in bars now coursed through their veins like fire. By the time the sun reached its peak, the battlefield was a nightmare for the aliens. Mercenaries had lost formations, equipment, and morale. Varric realized the humans were not just fighting, they were teaching a lesson. Every human action showed intelligence, bravery, and adaptability. The aliens could not beat them, not with strategy alone. Back on the mothership, survivors returned, shaken. Varric looked at his officers. "We cannot fight them like any other enemy," he admitted, voice low and tense. "We must understand, or we will die." And somewhere in the desert, the humans watched silently, calm, efficient, knowing that the galaxy would soon whisper another story of fear. The legend of human soldiers was growing, not because of their weapons, not because of their numbers, but because of their mind, their instinct, and their unbreakable will. Even elite mercenaries were beginning to understand the terrifying truth. Humans could not be predicted, and the galaxy had never faced anything like them before. The asteroid belt of Zerth-12 stretched endlessly, a frozen graveyard of jagged rock and drifting debris. The alien mercenaries had tracked the humans here, confident this time their numbers and firepower would crush the legendary soldiers. Commander Varric stood on the bridge of his flagship, eyes fixed on the holographic display. "This ends now," he said, his voice full of authority and anger. But humans were never predictable. The squad had anticipated the alien attack long before they entered the belt. They moved silently through the shadows of massive asteroids, their black armor blending perfectly with the void. Small thrusters whispered as they navigated the maze, each member in perfect synchronization. They had studied the aliens' previous tactics and used the chaotic environment of the asteroid belt to their advantage. As the first alien ships entered the belt, the trap was sprung. Explosions erupted around them. Rocks rigged with charges tumbled from the edges of massive asteroids, crushing drones and vehicles. Laser turrets hidden in narrow gaps cut through advancing mercenaries with surgical precision. The humans were everywhere at once, yet nowhere could be seen. From the bridge, Varric's eyes widened in disbelief. "They knew everything!" he shouted. "This is impossible!" The human squad moved calmly through the chaos. Mara led one group, guiding a fellow soldier away from a collapsing asteroid, while simultaneously marking a blind spot in the alien formation. Each human acted with instinct and precision, saving each other in moments that should have been fatal. Explosions rocked the field, yet they remained unshaken, almost serene, like predators in complete control of their hunt. Alien leaders fell one by one. Commander Varric watched his top officers destroyed by attacks that seemed impossibly clever. Mines detonated precisely under armored legs, ambushes struck from angles no alien could anticipate. Their elite units were no longer coordinated, they were scattered, confused, and terrified. One alien captain, barely clinging to life behind a fractured asteroid, muttered under his breath, "It's not just strength, it's their mind, their will." His words carried across the void, an acknowledgement of the humans' terrifying brilliance. Even when cornered, the humans adapted. A squad member pulled a wounded teammate into cover, then fired at incoming enemies without hesitation. Another used the debris to block a crushing asteroid, redirecting it into an alien formation. Every move was tactical genius, every decision instinctive. The aliens' attempts to overwhelm them were useless. As the battle wore on, the mercenaries' morale collapsed. Screams echoed across the asteroid belt. Ships were destroyed and drones fell into endless space. Even Varric's flagship took heavy damage, forcing a retreat. The humans survived without a single casualty from the alien ambush. They had not only fought, they had dominated the battlefield with intelligence, courage, and teamwork. By the time the last alien vessel limped away, the humans were already gone, moving silently through the asteroid field as if they had never been there. Only the remnants of the mercenaries' pride and shattered formations remained. The galaxy would remember this encounter as the day elite alien forces learned what humans were capable of. And somewhere in the cold silence of space, the legend of the humans grew. Mercenaries across the stars would whisper about them in fear. No matter how advanced, no matter how numerous, no one could predict their moves. No one could break their will. The human squad paused on a massive asteroid, surveying the battlefield. Calm faces, weapons ready, but no celebration. They were not monsters, they were soldiers, humans, terrifying in their skill, unstoppable in their determination, and for anyone who survived to tell the story, the lesson was clear. Never, ever underestimate a human soldier.
The asteroid belt fell silent, save for the drifting debris and distant sirens of retreating alien ships. In that silence, the humans' legend solidified, a story of courage, intelligence, and absolute supremacy in battle.
The story of Crine 9 and the asteroid belt of Zerth 12 spread across the galaxy faster than light. In every bar, every spaceport, and every mercenary guild, whispers filled the air. Even the most elite alien mercenaries refused contracts that involved humans. The word traveled with fear and respect. Humans were not just soldiers, they were legends. On the distant moon of Virax 7, a veteran alien mercenary shook his head as he recounted the events to younger recruits. "They don't fight like anyone else," he said, voice low. "Not with brute force, not with numbers. Their strength, it comes from their mind, their courage, and their will. Never, never fight them if you value your life." The younger aliens listened, wide-eyed and silent. Some whispered amongst themselves, unsure whether the story was myth or reality. In the midst of the galaxy's whispers, humans continued their missions. They moved calmly through dangerous territories, striking where needed, rescuing allies, and completing impossible objectives. Yet they never sought glory. To them, it was just another day, another mission. They did not see themselves as legends. They did not know that their every action was being remembered, recorded, and retold across systems. Mercenaries who had faced them personally still trembled at the thought. Some carried nightmares of human precision, human strategy, and human fearlessness. Entire alien units refused to serve on missions where humans were involved. The galaxy had learned a lesson that no training or technology could teach. Humans were unpredictable, relentless, and unstoppable. Stories of human bravery and tactical genius became common knowledge. In the outer colonies, children would hear of the 5 human soldiers who outsmarted hundreds of elite mercenaries in the asteroid belt. On council worlds, leaders debated carefully when humans were involved, weighing their words and actions with caution. Even the most arrogant alien captains learned restraint. Yet, for the humans themselves, life remained simple. Mara, Kale, and the rest of the squad walked across alien landscapes, helping local colonies, clearing threats, and ensuring peace wherever they went. They never spoke of their victories. They never boasted. Their calmness, their quiet confidence only added to the growing legend. Across the galaxy, the phrase, "never fight humans," became a warning, a proverb repeated by those who had survived encounters and those who had only heard the tales. It was both fear and admiration wrapped into a single truth. And everywhere humans went, their legend quietly grew, shaping the way the galaxy saw strength, courage, and resilience. On a high cliff overlooking the wreckage of a long-abandoned alien base, Mara gazed at the horizon, her squad resting nearby. They had completed their mission, yet there was no celebration, no cheering, just humans standing tall, calm, and ready for the next challenge. They were soldiers, and yet they had become something more, symbols of resilience, courage, and unstoppable will. A soft hum of distant engines echoed across the alien landscape, and in that sound, the humans remained unshaken. They did not need to fight for respect. The galaxy would give it to them regardless. Stories, whispers, and legends were enough to ensure their name was feared and admired in equal measure. And somewhere in the farthest reaches of the Orion cluster, a young mercenary named Kale would later remember this lesson. He would carry it for the rest of his life. Humans were not just fighters, they were forces of nature, the kind of enemy that could never be underestimated. In every corner of the galaxy, one truth survived: never underestimate a human soldier.
The suns set slowly over alien worlds, painting the sky in fiery red and deep blue. Human silhouettes stood against the horizon, weapons resting, armor battered but unbroken. Calm, confident, victorious. The galaxy had learned its lesson, and the legend of humanity would continue to grow, whispered across space, feared and respected in equal measure.